Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Board Games Unlocked, and Brad and I are continuing our top 100 games of all time. Now we are in the top 50. We're almost done. Got five more left, and this segment is kind of all over the place for me. I don't have any more stats for you. No fun stats on how many rose and fell and all that. But what I do have are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 that fell. Let me double check because this math isn't mathing. One, two, we're on 50, right? Let me
Yes.
make sure.
Make sure
Okay.
you're on the right one.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 that fell, three that rose, and one new one.
I have four that fell, four that fell, two that rose, four new to the list.
Or new to the list. Hitting the top 50?
Yep.
Jeez.
Just
All
wait, because
right.
my 50's a crazy shakeup of stuff. So
Yeah, mine is too. Because typically at this point, whenever they're new and they're like this high up, it's because we're really high on them.
yeah.
But I guess I do have some stats. Speaking of new games, because I did that math on how many rose and fell. Um, and I can't remember which one I talked about with 2019. I think I did 2019. So 2020 was actually this more confirms of new games. So from the new ones that were in 2019, where they landed in 2020, um, four rose and 21 fell. So that's just yeah, that's more of what I expected. So we'll see. We'll see if I keep running this trend on like the 2024 new games. Because how many new games did I have in 2024? 24 new ones. So yeah. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get started with my number 50, which is a game that I can't remember if you've played or if you own, um, because it has a wide variety of ways to play it, but I feel like this would go over well with you and your wife specifically. This was 41 last year and 43 the year before, so fell just a little bit. And that's mainly due to I haven't played this the intended way it's supposed to be played. I played it's the cooperative version. And that is Detective City of Angels.
I haven't played it since I bought it. I haven't played it with my wife or anything yet. I've
Okay.
played it. It's just not my
Have you
copy.
just played it the solo, or
No,
did
I
you finally
played
play it
with
the competitive?
we played with like four or five people
Okay.
for the only time I've played it so far.
Okay. This is a whodunit game by Van Ryder Games, and this game alone is what gives me extreme hope for Dark Quarter because I think Dark Quarter is supposed to be kind of like a whodunit storytelling scenario within New Orleans. And with Van Ryder behind the helm, this game is done extremely well. Super thematic and rich in atmosphere. But what makes this game different than like Chronicles of Crime and Sherlock Holmes and Detective Modern Crime board game is this is a competitive whodunit game. Now, granted, it can be played cooperative, and the cooperative is perfectly fine, and the two-player variant um, is also very good, or the solo variant. I can't remember which one it is, but the co-op is very doable. But the competitive is where this game shines because it's done in a kind of like it's a competitive setting. One person plays what's known as the chisel, who knows the story. They're the DM of that case. So they read it, they know the beats of it, they know the ending. And whenever other players are doing their actions, going to locations, shaking down people, investigating locations, the chisel is the one that kind of dictates how successful or how easy or difficult that scenario is going to be. Um, so for example, if Brad's going to go talk to a person, the chisel, the one player gets to decide how that person reacts to them by using an envelope with multiple different sides that they put in that covers all covers all the results except for the one that you're given. So you give that to the person and they read it and they either can take that for face value or they can, push a little bit more. And there's consequences if they push for more information, and that was the only truthful answer. And what's also fascinating is the people they are talking to, they're not always shady. They're not always trying to lie to you. So if you're trying to talk to someone and ask them a certain question and they don't know, the response might be similar to they don't know. And but because it's a competitive game and the chisel is actually trying to win, they might push a little bit more and beat up on an innocent person and get penalized for it. So that there's just a lot of stuff going around, and other players can spend money to bribe people to see where other people are going to get information that they might not have had. Um, it's just a really awesome whodunit experience that's completely unique in a genre where, I mean, they're all really just similar games, different stories in different cases, and this one completely stands out. So I really like it. It doesn't get to the table all that much because I like to play it competitively and I need more than just kind of two people.
Right.
But yeah, this one's fantastic. Definitely unique. If you like that type of game, highly recommend it. That's my number 50.
All right. Well, my number 50 is a new to my list. And this one, I don't know where it'll be down the road. It's one of those I played just over the last month or two and really loved the worker placement aspect of it. It's kind of a weird ass theme. And I know you've played this game. So it is
Oh, yeah.
Apiary.
Yep.
Um, this one was one that I picked up because it's Stonemaier, and I don't have a whole lot of Stonemaier stuff anymore. But the theme was just kind of weird. But what caught me was the worker placement aspect with your bees, because the bees are numbered 1 to 4. Let's see what picture we have here. Yeah, so like your bee things are like numbered 1 to 4, and as you place them out, you can place them in different places or whatever, depending on their number. But then if somebody goes and takes them, it doesn't block spots because people can go and take that spot that you're on. But if they do, your bee goes back to your player board, but it increases its number. So it becomes more powerful and be able to do a bigger, better thing.
Mhm.
You're building your hive all the time in it. There's tons of factions, which surprised me. I think there's like 20 factions or something like that you choose from, which is bonkers for a game.
Yeah,
Usually games like this come with 6 factions, 5, 6
that's
factions.
true. One more than the number of max players.
Right. So having 20 factions already pops out. I haven't messed with the expansion stuff. I know because you got that and did it and gave it to me. I haven't done that yet, but
Yeah.
uh,
I mean, they came
but
with more factions.
yeah. So there you go, more of that. But it's got the to your typical Stonemaier quality, of stuff. It's neat how it's set up. You're just trying to. I think it takes place over a year. I think is like
I don't
the
remember.
distance of the game. I think because that bad stuff is coming and you're gonna have to hibernate before. It's like the what is it called?
Oh God, you read the theme? I didn't give a shit about what this was about, except
It's
that,
the
yeah.
dearth. The dearth quickly approaches, so you have to get
Yeah.
yeah. But
That
but
sounds
yeah,
like
getting
that sounds Disney like a Disney Channel bully name. Oh
right.
God, it's Dearth. He's coming to beat me up.
Well, and it's great because like this game is stupid because you're like bees in space, and it's like
Yeah.
I don't, it is what it is on that. But the actual mechanics of the game is really nice. And you get to do some exploration out here with your bee ship and all that
Hmm.
stuff, and you're gathering resources and all that stuff. This was just one, and I have not played this one solo yet. I need to, just to try out the solo aspect of it and see what it's like. But yeah, I mean, this one really surprised me this year, and that's why it's so high up right now. I know where it goes after that, who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah,
This one would definitely be on my list if I owned it.
Mhm.
And it's one I do mean to pick up because it also surprised me with how good it is. And I forgot it was Stonemeyer because I think I brought this up with another Stonemeyer game, but it's funny how it feels like Stonemeyer just gets, joked on lately just because of the games they kind of release, where it's like, oh, it's Wormspan and Finspan, which I heard Finspan is really good if you want a simpler wingspan. But then you look at all the games that they do release, and they're extremely solid. Like this one, Stamp Swap, are the two that I can immediately think of. And it's like, nope, Stonemaier still got it. I didn't like Expeditions. I know you didn't either. But that seems to be more popular. And yeah, they're just a really solid staple company, one of the very few. I know they went on Kickstarter for Scythe, but I don't think they've done Kickstarter since, that I can think of.
I don't believe so. I think that was
I
the
don't think
only
so
one.
either. Yeah. But this is really kind of an awesome spatial awareness one. You're building out your hive with those abilities, those different three tiles. It kind of has like a Feast for Odin vibe where you can expand your hive out a little bit more. That's what the expansion did great, is those expansion pieces are all unique now. In the base game, they're all the same. So that's a great addition from the expansion. It it just does worker placement extremely well. Dice worker placement, they're not dice, but it has a Teotihuacan thing where the dice increase in value, and I really like that too.
Yeah, yeah,
So
it was a good one.
I agree. This might be on my list next year if I end up picking it up, but I don't know. For some reason, whenever it comes to when it comes to board games and like I get paid and I'm like, I can buy some games now, and then I look at all the games I'm paying for on Kickstarter, I'm like, never mind.
I
It's
know.
hard to buy retail games. But yeah, good pick. My number 49 rose last year. It was 52. So it went up 3 spots. Um, Not for really any particular reason, except that every time I was comparing it in the Pub Meeple, I was just constantly reminded of how extremely solid this game is. Um, and the sexy special edition definitely doesn't hurt it. I don't know if you've talked about it yet or if you're going to, and that is Castles of
Yes.
Burgundy. Specifically the special edition. I'm not some plebe who has to resort to playing the original or the remake of the original. I have the sexy, overly produced copy. So get
The
on my
Awakened
level.
Realms.
Yeah, by Awakened Realms, that becomes kind of a burden to play. You want your games to be a chore to set up. Um, no, this is actually done very well, and Awaken Realms production is very good, but this is pretty much the only Stefan Feld game that I have played that I like.
Really?
Um, well, because there's this one, there's Merlin, that's Stefan Feld, right?
Yep.
Okay, and there's In the Year of the Dragon, which are the only three Stefan Feld games I have played. So it's not entirely fair because I know he has a huge catalog of games, but out of the ones I've played, this is the only one that I have really enjoyed. Um, and this is a classic. I mean, when it comes to kind of Euro games, spatial awareness is kind of the oh, I was like, what the fuck just happened? It went black on my
Oh,
my
really?
side for like a second. Um, I just really like that kind of build out section where whenever you're rolling your dice to be able to determine your actions, that type of die rolling is what I really kind of vibe with. Because that curbed my expectation immediately of what I can do on my turn. For some reason, in my head, I know it sounds the same, but in my head, I never am thinking of the action I want to do when I roll the dice. It's I roll them and I'm like, now here's what I can do, versus here's what I really want to do. Hopefully, I can do it. Um, but the cargo, I mean, I think this is with the Vineyard expansion. I'm trying to think what the bottom area is. But either way, you are
I think you're
going out
right.
and you're going out and getting tiles from various ports on the main board to use on your sheet. And what's awesome about this special edition, and probably the original, I actually never played the original, you have tons of different sheets that kind of will be a different layout of what you're going for. And there's different strategies on how you want to get your victory points, whether that's through farms, when to build out and get your castles of Burgundy to give you that extra turn. There's enough dice mitigation in here that gives you like those peasant tokens that let you modify your rolls. The set collection element is amazing. You know what fucking sucks though about the special edition though?
So,
And it's in the regular version, the yellow tiles, those special action tiles, tell you what they do on the back. In
yes,
the special edition, if you get the acrylic ones, they don't.
yes, I know
And
that
I
was
really
irritating.
don't like that.
Yeah,
It's like, what a, and I know why, because you have to have a different printer at the factory to be able to print on both sides, but it's like you could have easily done that.
yeah.
So you have to have the stupid sheet that tells you what they do. But yeah, this game is just so clean at this point. It's an extremely streamlined game, a classic for a reason, and yeah, like I have a great time every time I play it. So that's my number 49, Castles of Burgundy.
And just to clarify, you do not have to have this super basic version. Find the retail cheapy version, and it's just as the game is still just as great. It's you
No,
know,
no, you really
yeah.
no. I don't think there's a. Do you think there's a single game that getting the special upgraded bougie is actually necessary? If gameplay is the same, if it's not like you gotta, it fixes this issue.
Well, I would say the one that I backed that's in this line from Awakened Realms that hasn't delivered yet could possibly be the Puerto Rico
Oh yeah,
special edition because the basic version of it was so blah,
yeah,
like looking and stuff that one's gonna make it visually appealing. So
yeah.
because
But people, yeah,
yeah,
it'd be interesting to kind of look out and see. Let us know in the comments if there's a game that is objectively better by being upgraded. Not quality of life stuff, but the gameplay is better because the gameplay of this, like Brad just said, is the exact same. Actually, I lied. I have played not the original, but they did like that remake of the original. Um, I have played that. That's how I knew I liked it. So yeah, you just get the regular version. That's not going to cost you an arm and a leg.
yes.
Um, and you'll have a great time. So yeah,
All right.
49.
My number 49 was 25 last year. So it fell quite a bit. And it
Yeah,
fell
it did.
strictly because I have not played it yet. Or not yet. I've not played it this year because it's a game I love playing when it gets to the table, but it just you need to have a group. It's not something like playing it solos. You can do it, but it's still just it's very tedious and stuff. You used to own it. You don't anymore, and that is
Ah,
it's a badness.
yeah,
Um,
I don't own this one. And you know
yeah,
what's funny? I've been thinking about this game and I'm like, I kind of wanted a game.
I just play mine. We can just
Yeah,
set up
that's
and
pretty
play
much, yeah.
because I have everything for it, and I actually found an organizer to get it all organized
Ah,
now into this box, and then one of the bigger expansion boxes. It'll
oh,
be
okay.
just two boxes instead of all of them.
Yeah.
And like I said, I managed to sell those like initial expansions that brought stuff from the first edition over that I hadn't played. I sold both of them for 450. So it's
Damn.
nuts for just some tiles and some miniatures in each
Yeah,
box.
like
That's
I really
it.
I really took a bath on selling mine because I think I sold my entire collection for 500.
That's why. Did you have those initial two
Mm-hmm.
things though? Okay. Yeah, those initial
Yeah.
two things are selling like crazy. But
Damn.
anyway,
Could have
yeah.
really price gouged them.
So anyway, this is, it's been on my list for since we've been doing this, I think pretty much. But it is your basic kind of, I guess you'd call it a dungeon crawl kind of thing. It's not, I mean, kind of, there's scenarios that you use. It's app based. It was kind of one of their earlier app based games
Hmm.
that came out, and it's outstanding app wise, creating the atmosphere, creating all the stuff. But you go through and do these scenarios. There's tons of scenarios on the app. And there's even other, I think, there's some that you could just purchase too.
Yeah,
Or,
there were
yeah,
quite a bit. And funny
yeah,
enough, speaking of purchasing shit, if you ever get a new phone, you might have to repurchase them
really.
because I've had to buy the scenarios multiple times because for some reason like the account didn't back it or something. Um, let's see.
Interesting.
This is when did this come out? 2016.
Yeah, so you're looking at 9 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, but this one, is just, and I've said this before in previous years, if I can get this with the right group, I will um uh screen it to the TV that we're at.
Mm,
So it brings the atmosphere in, like the music's out there, everybody can see the tiles that are popping up. It just makes it better, I think, atmosphere wise for people,
yeah.
like the whole group. So it's not just, you're just not trying to stare at an iPad screen or whatever.
Hmm.
But you go through these scenarios, and and they range from all kinds of stuff. There's train scenarios, there's scenarios all over the fucking place. And the biggest thing I hate about this game is the miniature bases.
Oh, they're so bad.
Those are stupid. But I
Yeah.
mean,
I think whenever I did own it, I ended up just never using the minis. Like I
oh
just
really?
used the tiles like you used to do in Arkham Horror Second Edition and stuff,
Right.
and that was perfectly fine.
Yeah. Yeah. It is what it is on that. I mean, that's a kind of a dated thing, and the minis aren't that great either
No.
for the monster ones. The one thing I wish I had for this game was they came out with those uh, Arkham Files mini painted miniatures for like all the
Hmm.
investigators. Those would have been cool to have, like neat investigator miniatures, but neither here nor there. The puzzle aspect, there's puzzles in this. There's all these different things that happen. I know there was that one thing you didn't like, the oh shit, the one insanity that you got where you just started
Oh,
doing fire. Yeah, pyro.
pyromancy.
Yeah. But
Yeah, the insanity cards in this I always thought were kind of very frustrating because they would completely derail the whole session. Even though it was thematic, I found them more annoying mechanically. Even though, yeah, if someone was dealing with these horrors and they do go mentally insane and they're like, I need to burn this place down. It's like, yeah, I think I would try to stop the person and you have to do that, but mechanically it's just completely kills it.
yeah,
Um but yeah, I mean, there's something about this game. The storytelling and the app really do a great job. Um, I really think this needs to be redone, a third
yeah.
edition. I think I've touted that as a thing Fantasy Flight is gonna do with Mansions of Madness third edition or Eldritch Horror second edition, but I don't think
I was
so.
just getting ready to bring up that game you just said, because there's one game in this genre that I have not played that I think I really want to play, and that's Eldritch Horror. Like, I've never played it, and I've owned it on two different separate occasions, and I never play it, and I sell it. But Eldritch Horror is one that I really want to play
Have
because
we You have
I
really never played Eldritch Horror.
never have, never
Wow.
have. I played Arkham. I played all the Arkham horrors except for the newest version, the
A
one
third
that,
edition that
yeah, but
totally sucked.
right. So
Yeah.
I played Arkham, Eldritch, or not Eldritch, or Elder Sign.
Mm.
Any of these games that are in that Cthulhu mythos, but Eldritch is the one that I have not touched.
Wow.
So, and I really want to.
It's
But anyway,
fantastic. I've played Eldritch Horror recently within like a year. And yeah, I mean I kept it. It was one of those times where I played it and I'm like, "Oh, okay, I think I'm done." No, I was like reminded of how great it is.
yeah,
Um and yeah, Mansions of Madness is super solid. But I don't know. I feel like maybe it might be dated at this point. I don't know, with just how many campaign or games like this that are coming out.
feel that way. Like I said, I didn't play it this year at all,
Yeah.
so which is why the fall. So if I would get it played, we'll see. But getting it all organized, I think will be helpful in getting it played too. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Nice. All right. Good pick, good sir. My number 48 also rose. It was 53 last year and 69 the year before. This is a game that you and I had played, um, which is a genre that you typically don't like. I know this isn't on your list, but just because there's no way it would work out solo. But man, is this game just super fun. It's gone over extremely well every single time I've played it, and that is Project Elite, a Simon game that is surprisingly not over, bloated with a million expansions.
That's because they just saved it out from that
Yeah.
Artipia and stuff. So
Yeah, and it sucks because this would be a game I would really actually like to have as like Marvel United level content for it because man, this game, you want to talk about just pure fun. That's this game. This game is just such a blast to play. It's a real-time game that is essentially tower defense. You are one of these characters that are just getting swarmed by these mobs. And, funny enough, the miniature color I actually enjoy because the flesh-colored minis are their cannon fodder. They have like 1 HP and they die, and it just feels like you're being swarmed. Kind of like how you ever see any content for like Vampire Survivor? Those type of bullet hell video games where you're just getting swarmed by mobs and then eventually you see a boss coming. Okay. Well, that's what this game kind of feels like, where there's just mob after mob and swarm after swarm coming down at you, and you are just constantly rolling dice for your life to mow down these things. And then eventually a boss comes in, and you have to see that and see what it does and then deal with that. And everyone is doing this. It's a heads down kind of roll, but it's hectic and chaotic and super fun the entire time. But what's awesome is uh it's not real time the entire game.
which is why I like
Um,
it.
yeah, exactly. It's there's waves of that where it's like, okay, here's the real time phase. Now time is up. Boom. Now you resolve kind of how they all move. Then you do your upgrades, and then it's like, oh, start of a new round. Here's your objectives, and here's your summoning, and you're summoning more. And everyone gets to reassess, look at the situation, and then it's like, and go. And everyone's like, okay, you're just gun them down. And it's like, okay, so if I go over here and then you're running and then you're shooting them on the same side, it's so much fun. I've actually played this with one of the expansions where everyone is kind of in a suit, like a mech suit, and you're locked in on one gun, and those there's like a really powerful ability, but a detriment to those suits as well. Um, and there's different maps that you can do. I've only ever played this on the base map, which is not this one. This one is like the crash landed ship. The other one is the lab, I think is what it's called. And it's that one's more traditional tower defense. You're on one end and they're all coming this way. But yeah, I don't know if it's how readily available this is. Um,
I don't think it is.
I don't think it is either. I have everything for it, and it's awesome. The level of fun that this game brings is exactly what I'm looking for. But I haven't played it in a hot minute, so that's why it's not higher. But it did rise, and with my kind of the way I'm winning games nowadays, I can see this keep going up.
So I actually just played this like 2 months ago,
Oh,
and
whose copy did you play? Brad, are you cheating on me? You didn't invite me.
no, I didn't. No, it was like, my older group that I used to play with here in town that they got together and I played with them. And I okay, this game you have to have a group that you can trust
Which is
because
not the older group that you used to game with,
well, no,
apparently.
it usually is, but they'd got gained a new person in that group,
Oh,
and I don't know that person,
yeah.
like, but we played this and like that 2 minute window of real time, you're focusing so much on your stuff
Hmm.
that he was just it didn't matter what he was rolling, he was just doing whatever he wanted on the board.
Oh, okay.
You're like, oh, I rolled all these hits, I'm taking all these people out, and it's like you are like being way too damn efficient to be for this
Yeah.
to be true, and stuff, and it just kind of ruined the entire deal with it. So
Yeah, cheaters can do that.
yeah, so I mean, it was just, and it's hard. That's the one thing you have to watch out if you do search this game down, because if you have people you trust and you're playing it the right way, then yeah, it's excellent experience.
Yeah.
But man,
What a
it just
weird.
takes one person because you can't keep track of them because you're you're rolling your own shit, so you're not going to be looking at what anybody else is doing.
You can't.
Yeah,
I mean,
you
there's
can't.
no way.
So it's like, and then there's people that take advantage of that, and it's just like,
Yeah.
they
What
just
a
ruins the
weird
experience.
thing to do, especially in a co-op game. Like I get it. Like in my campaign games, I'm sure there are people who get pissed off where like we keep failing rolls and I'll just be like, "Oh, it's cocked." But we do that in like I feel like we do it in a cheeky way because who really cares? It's like, but if we were doing that the entire game, it's like, why the fuck are we even rolling at that point? Like we do it every now and then. But it's like in a game like this, why even roll dice? Why not just be like pretend?
I'm going to
Oh,
kill him, and I'm
yeah.
going to end up on the side of the map.
Don't worry, guys. It's like, okay, here are all the mobs and go.
Yep.
They're all dead. I did it. I'm that good. Just do that.
Yeah, it was not a pleasant experience, but
Weird.
that isn't the game's fault.
No, that's definitely not the game's fault. So if you don't play with people like that and
Yeah.
you embrace the hecticness of the Starship Troopers feel, um, man, this game gives you a high that you'll be chasing for the rest of your life.
Oh, yeah.
That's not true, but it is a really fun game. I don't know. You think this
It's,
will ever
it's
get like picked up or Simon will do anything with it? Can they? They have
It
to, right?
depends
They
on
own the
what their deal
rights.
is. It depends on what their deal is with Artipia, because
Yeah.
did they buy the license, or did they just agree to print it for them
Mm,
and put it? I don't know what that
that's true.
is. I don't even know if
That's
Artipia is still a company. Like
Artipia is the one that did what Among the Stars, and that's it.
Among the Stars. Oh, yeah. So I don't know.
I'm looking this up because I don't
They've
even know
got
how
a
much it
handful of
made.
games, but
Project Elite. Um, so this was funded in 2000 something. 2020. It only made 634K on a goal of 100K,
yeah.
which obviously is six times the amount, but it's like everyone knows the goal is a complete bullshit
Yep.
lie. But man, it's actually really insane because the pledge that the only pledge they had for that was $100.
Yep. That's kind of like Blood Rage back in the day. Like
Yeah,
it was $75 for Blood Rage, and then you added like 25 for the fifth player expansion, whatever everything
that's
else was.
true. It's
It's just
crazy looking back on these where it's like, huh, nowadays I mean, maybe that's why they just didn't make enough to keep it going.
well, and
Either way,
it's a niche game. I mean, real time scares a lot of people off when they think it's the entire thing is real time, which
yeah,
is what I didn't until we played it. Wasn't looking
yeah.
forward to it either.
If you
So
do see a copy and you're interested and but you don't I'm not saying this game is fun at any player count except solo, which you'd be two-handing it anyway. I have played this at 2, 3, and 4, and it works either player. It's so much fun.
yeah,
Anyway, that's my number 48, Project Elite.
awesome. All right, my number 48 is an old game for all intents and purposes. It came out in 2007, so you're looking at 18 years. And they've come out with they've come out with multiple or a few more versions of this over the last few years. But this original version that I have is still the one I own and still my favorite one. It was 34 last year. It just fell mainly because I haven't really played a whole lot, but this is one of those games. If I'm playing it, it's going to be in the top 30, probably just because of how much I love it. And that is Kingsburg.
Wow.
In this version specifically, because I don't like the art for the second edition that they came out with and stuff.
Is
But
there not a third edition?
they're working on one.
Okay.
I don't
That's
think
what
it's come out yet. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
It's like I don't understand. Like they're not really changing. Like the art is really pretty much all that changed. They added a couple of cards in the second edition,
Hmm.
and they put the expansion in the box for second edition that
Yeah.
you need to have. Like it didn't come with this. So I have my expansion just thrown in with this box and stuff. But anyway, this was kind of one of the granddaddies of because this one and Alien Frontiers came out back in the day, and they were kind of your dice placement, and that was kind of a fairly new thing back when this came out. using whatever you roll on your dice to be able to place a certain place and take actions from them. This one, you are trying to influence these different people in the kingdom. So you're going to roll your 3 dice, and then you will in player order, you're going to place dice on with the exact same number as that red banner in the top left of each of these deals. So you're going to place them down, and you could put, like, this guy up here, he has 9 in his red dice. So you could put all 3 of those dice on his turn on the 9 if you wanted to. Or you can put a 3, or, just, you can put however many dice down you want on that one time, but you can only influence one advisor per round. So you do that, and then it goes to the next person, and the next, and you kind of lay them. And then once they're all laid out, then starting with, you start at the top of the bottom. Oh God, it's been a while.
What?
When you start going through I think you start.
Oh, like the resolution. I think it's top to bottom.
Yeah. So you start where the highest dice here. You get your resources, do whatever the actions are as you go through.
You can do them in any order.
No, it's supposed to be top to bottom or bottom to top. I can't remember.
I don't think so.
Yeah. No. It's resolving. Okay. Now you can place them in any order, but resolving is always from one, like top to bottom or bottom to top.
Look it up right now, bitch.
Better be looking at the old rules. But anyway, so you go through and you do that, and then you have your own little town board that you will be able to build. There's a building phase. You can build a building, and that'll give you abilities.
Well, guess what? We're both wrong. It's in ascending order from 1 to 18.
Well, that's what I said. I said it's either from the bottom of the top or the top of the bottom.
Yeah, remember. But then you doubled down and said top to bottom. And I said whatever order.
So from 1 up there. So you just
1 to 18, that. Which actually makes sense because there's right. There's never mind. I don't know what I'm talking about.
But anyway, what's cool is the expansion added different modules, which is the best kind of expansions. But they added one because everybody had the same building options and player boards to start with. This one, and then one of the modules was it added different strands you could put on there to kind of change up how you build your town. It added events. It added different, like the only part that was weak with the base game without the expansion was the battle resolution at the end. Whatever the monster horde is that's coming in that you have to defend against. You'd roll a dice. One person roll a die, and everybody would add that to whatever their battle stat was.
It really didn't need to exist.
No, honestly. But what's cool is in the module expansion that you get those discs, and
that's true.
And then you get to choose. Okay, do I want to do 0 on this turn or 4 on this turn? Because it's 0 to 4 is what it ranges. But which is fine because then everybody kind of does different. Because if whoever's the strongest in that battle will get a victory point.
Yeah.
But at the end of the game, there will be one of your battle chips will be left. And then whatever is left on that's how many victory points you get to add. So like if you play the whole game without using the 4, then that's 4 extra points at the end of the game. So, there's a lot of cool little module things. The events are neat. The one event that I've only had happen once as many times as I've played this game is there's the king is sick is one of them. So then you don't nothing happens with it. But then if there's 2 cards of that in that big deck, and if you happen to pull the other one, then the game ends immediately.
Yeah, it's like, King died. We're not going to defend it anymore.
So it was just kind of an interesting thing. But, this is just one of those deals. Like, I don't know what their plans are with the newest edition.
Redo the art because no one bought 2nd edition.
Well, right, but awful. I mean, I don't even know why, unless they're changing the game. It's like we just talked about this with Castles of Burgundy. It's like if you're just going to try to shine up a old game, it's like the art of the original is awesome.
Yeah, and what a weird game to decide to do a 3rd edition.
Yeah, I know.
Because I don't hate this game by any means. I've played it relatively recently to see if I wanted to keep it, and after playing it, I was like, no, this is super solid. It's not even close to my top 100. I was even trying to look for where it was at. I think it's in the late 200s. But I still own it because it is a solid game. But yeah, I would never. There's so many other games that need to be redone or reprinted brought back into circulation. It's certainly not Kingsburg.
Well, I don't even know who owns it now. Like, because this old version that I have, this one is not was brought over from Europe, so I don't even know who really like publishes it.
Giochi Uniti.
Because second edition, yeah. So I guess it's the same. Yeah. Okay. I thought maybe another company picked it up or
Don't
something,
Panic
but
Games might be a little bit more accurate, but Ginochi Uniti
huh. Well, I
is
guess
on the
Z
box.
Man has it down towards the bottom in Asmodee. They're part of the Asmodee umbrella.
I see.
I don't know. I don't understand the whole third edition crap that they're trying to do, but whatever. I
Okay.
mean, if they use the same art and like add a bunch of elements to it or whatever, then maybe I'll look into it. But that
Yeah.
second edition art just was nuts. It's
Yeah.
like, and they try to throw in, there's like four extra cards in here that's not in the original deal, and it's like, I'm a completionist, but not that much of a
Yeah,
completionist.
not enough to buy the game again for 4 cards that you'll never see.
Yeah. So
All
anyway,
right.
that is my number 48, Kingsburg.
Nice. My number 47 fell quite a bit, actually. Last year it was 43, so it fell 4 spots. It's pretty much dead at this point. I don't even think the company is supporting it anymore. Um, and in 2022 it was 115, so it shot up. Um, and I still am. We definitely need to do a tournament for this. I think we're gearing up for one for sure, and that is
Oh,
Summoner
yes.
Wars Second Edition. Uh, Obviously, I'm kidding. It is very much not dead. They are still releasing expansions for it, but at this point, I'm collecting the factions, and I need to really get them played. But for some reason, I'm just waiting for our tournament to play. Um, this is a game where the first edition I absolutely despised because the combat resolution was a D6 and that was awful. But the second edition is way better because even though it's dice resolution, you're pretty much going to be hitting. Even if you're not killing units, you're at least hitting them. Uh, and misses are a lot more rare. Oh, that's cool. Those are cool.
Yeah. I could
Most
3D
likely
print those.
yeah, 3D printed portals. That's
Yeah.
a nice little.
Well, and I think what they did to talk about what you were just talking about, like you can hit every time, but and a lot of the units are the same as they used to be. Like the names of it and the abilities, it's just they've
Hmm.
added hit points.
Yeah.
So it's like, so it's in your head. You feel it's a positive feeling because you're hitting every time, but you're not doing any more damage than you would have if they just the ones that used to have like 1 hit point now have 3 hit points, because you're hitting
Right.
every time. But it
Yeah,
makes it feel better.
it's a great psychological change because, like you just said, it's frustrating to miss all the time. And at least if you're rolling 3, 4 dice and you're like, okay, I dealt 2 damage, which some units it might kill, but because you get multiple attacks on your turn, you could decide which of your enemies, units are going to be more of a problem. So you can bully, gang up on them and kill them. But because killing units is how you get mana, and mana is how you cast spells from your hand. So there's a really awesome balance of when to bring out cards, when to use them, when to move them, how to use them, um, when to save mana, when to spend it. Do you save up to get your champions out? And if you misplay your champions and they die immediately, you essentially wasted all that mana. And the fact that every faction plays completely different with different units. The Phoenix Elves are fucking terrible. I hate them. They're so awful. Uh, but and some of your summoners, because you win the game either if you stall out, and because if you do not attack on your turn, your summoner takes damage. So if you can stall out long enough that the time kills your opponent's summoner, but you win by defeating the summoner. And in a lot of games like that, almost like chess, you would want to keep your summoner back. It's like, well, I don't want to risk them dying, but a lot of summoners are meant to be in the fray, and
Yep.
they help, and they have special really good abilities, and some do want to play more defensive in the back, and that adheres to certain play styles, like the I think frost trolls or the tundra orcs, I think is what they're called. Their leader wants to be in the fight, and that is not what I want to do because I'm like, no, I'm gonna lose if he gets in there. It and it's a skirmish game. It's a card-based skirmish game. So the price of entry for this game is so low.
Mhm.
There's so much content for this second edition that they're not letting up anytime soon, I can imagine.
No, I listen to their podcast that comes out like monthly or every couple weeks.
Okay.
No, they said they have several more in the pipeline that they're
Yeah,
working
they're
on.
dropping like two every month or
Yeah,
something.
because I play tested for Plaid Hat when for the original version of this game. So I
Yeah.
love the original version. Played thousands of games of it and everything. Whether because I had a nice app for the original back then that I was
Okay.
using. So yeah, I played so much of this game.
Yeah.
Then I was super excited when the second edition came out or was announced, and I've only the only way I've played this game is on there is mobile against other
Oh
people
yeah.
because I mean I don't we'll play it eventually, but I still have that subscription. I have all these damn factions, but they're all still in cellophane practically. So that's why it's not on my list.
Okay.
It's 120. Well, it's 126.
Gotcha.
But I didn't want to put too much weight into me playing it just strictly on their mobile platform.
On the app. Yeah, it is interesting because would people consider if you're only playing on the app, like if I was like, oh, I've been playing Dominion every day on the app, it's number two. Would people throw a fit about that? It's like that's not really playing it. It's like no, I think it is. It's no different than a video game or
Right.
playing Root on Tabletop Simulator. If that's your only means of playing a game and like you're still purchasing content, I think
Yeah.
that's justifiable. So you
That's
have
what it.
my green light to throw Summoner Wars on
Well,
your
I
top
know,
100.
and after we play it, like in person, I think it'll be
Hmm.
a lot better because when we do have this tournament, whenever that is, because I have the playmat, I have all the nice acrylic tokens,
Yeah.
I have the fancy dice, the premium dice, and all that
Ah,
stuff. So,
nice.
so
I know
we'll,
I have the playmat. I don't think I got the acrylic tokens.
yeah,
I low key want to get those fucking deck boxes,
I
those
know,
magnetic deck boxes. It's so there, but I'm like, I'm gonna want it for all factions, and they're not caught up
yeah, it's
on
gonna
them
be
for. But yeah,
nice.
this one is so much fun. It's not overly long, and yeah, it's just done so well. And even though I hate the Phoenix Elves, um, that's how you can kind of like know they're doing it right with factions when you can be like this faction's not my play style. This one is. I hate playing against them. Um, and I think that I I personally don't play enough. I know whenever I did my starter set review, I felt that the Orcs and the Phoenix Elves, I think those were the two, were unbalanced against one another. And someone commented on like how many the stats on playtesting, and I think it was pretty much dead even on professional players. And I'm like, well, I'm definitely not that. So, and I'm never gonna be.
No, the guild dwarves were the ones that I always had the biggest hand in. But no, I pulled up my stats from the old app from when
Hmm.
I was playtesting, and I played 4,378 games
Oh
of
my God.
it. And then I can't find a place for the stats for the new one, but I haven't played on the new app as much. But man, yeah, I lived this game back in the day on that.
I
So,
tried their campaign, like on their
uh,
website or whatever. That writing is awful.
yeah,
It's awful. I was like, no, nope. I'm not a 12-year-old, kid who laughs at poop jokes. I'm a
right,
30 to 31-year-old man who laughs at poop jokes. But that writing was fucking terrible.
yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
my number 47, Summoner Wars, specifically second edition.
All right. My number 47 is a game I know will be on your list at some point. Um, it was 65 last year, so it went up a little bit,
Ooh,
mainly
yes, it
because I
did.
actually had a session where I got to play it this year. Um, and it is a game that I was super excited about um, when it was announced a handful of years ago because I liked the game that kind of started this world for this company, and that is Role Player Adventures.
Nice.
Role Player, I love Role Player. Role Player is actually not on my top 100 now though, because I haven't played that for quite a
Are you not
while.
combining them at this point?
I mean, I guess you could. I mean,
That's what I've been doing for
yeah.
the past couple of years.
Um, but yeah, you don't even have to because they have pre-made characters for
Hmm.
this. But I think the coolest way is if you have a lot of time in the right group, creating, playing role player to build your character, and then transfer over to this is awesome.
I actually have some insight on that.
Hmm.
So my campaign that I recorded, my series on the channel, Keith and I did play role player and we made our characters through that and imported them. And it works perfectly fine. It's actually like it is awesome. But because you're playing role player to specifically put them into this, you essentially play it as a co-op game. Because if you play role player
That's true.
competitively, you
Yeah.
fuck over a teammate in role player adventures if they don't get a lot
Right.
of points. So you kind of have to be like, okay, this is the character I want to build. Oh, there's a weapon I know would be good for you right now in this competitive game, but I kind of want it for my
Yeah.
character. It's weird. And I have done the expansion, Gold Packs' Secret, with the pre-mades,
Hmm.
and it's honestly just as good. So if people are saying, "Oh, I want to get this, but do I need the original stuff?" No. The pre-made ones are perfectly fine. Just pick a character that you want to play as and you're like, "Oh, I can role play with this."
Yeah, and Stan, I haven't played any of the expansion content for this yet. I'm still working my way through the
Yeah.
core box because there's so much in this game. It's such a heavy box. All the books that are in there that you go through. Um, and yeah, like you said, it's cooperative. We actually played an old or very early version of this game back in the
Hmm.
day as a play test. Um,
Which was on
and
the channel. I have since removed it.
yeah,
I did a purge of old videos on my
yeah,
channel. So,
yeah. So this one, let's see what picture we got here. Okay, yeah. So this looks like it. This one might be. Is this the? It looks like a
yeah.
prototype a little bit, doesn't it? Maybe.
Mm,
No, it looks pretty good.
no. No, that
All right,
looks like it.
all right. That
It looks
paper
like they
though.
printed off
Yeah, that's what was
the
throwing me off.
party aid, but
Yeah.
that looks like the game.
All right. So, but anyway, so what's cool about this is like you get to make your choices, and if I have if I have one downside to this game is that you get super powerful,
Oh
like
yeah.
to the point where you're not failing. Um,
No.
so
Yeah, that's correct.
so the story is solid story,
Hmm.
like it's not my favorite thing in the world, but it's definitely better than
It's serviceable.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's better than like you know uh the one playing Primal and stuff like that. That just different stuff.
It's definitely, I would say the gameplay of Primal is better, but
Yeah,
God, the story
yeah,
is
exactly.
so
Uh,
fucking bad.
so I mean, it's just one of those things. Like the role player universe is fun, but there's not very many games in that universe that I actually ended up liking.
Yeah.
Like this one, I like role player, but like the lockup and Dawn of Ulos and all these different things. Oh, I guess
Tenpenny
cartographers would be in that
Parks.
too. That's good.
Yeah.
Huh? What's that?
Tenpenny Parks.
Yeah.
That's not in this universe,
No,
dude.
I was like trying to think what you were saying. I was like, because when you said that, I was thinking Stone Spire Architects for some reason. Like I don't know why,
Yeah.
but yeah,
It's in the way future when fantasy starts making
right.
carnivals.
But yeah, I mean, this is just a really solid game if you like storytelling, if you like the cooperative aspect of these deals. Um, it's in dice rolling. It's a solid character building, like a RPG light kind of thing. You're building your character up in different ways, and
Yeah. I will say to comment on that this is super like you do get busted because there's no real hand limit. You have so many cards that you can really manipulate anything, but um that doesn't make it trivial.
right. Oh
Because
yeah.
every combat or every skill check is still a puzzle, depending on the dice that come out. So I would much prefer that, where it's like we're gonna succeed and we're gonna get the story that we want to go through, rather than let dice random chance determine how this outcome goes because I've done storytelling games where randomness determines how what's affected, and that's frustrating. Like King's Dilemma, where it's negotiation, and if you're invested in a story and you want it to go a certain way, but something wedges you in a different direction, that could be annoying. Um, so it's not like, oh, we're gonna automatically succeed. You don't automatically succeed. You still have to play well, but you're probably gonna succeed.
Yeah. Yep. And I haven't even gotten that. I mean, because you probably played this a lot more than I have, so
I've
you
just played the
probably
expansion recently.
right. I mean, like I've only went through like two of the books maybe
Okay.
of the
Yeah, I
core
mean, I
box.
finished the
So
main campaign and I finished the expansion campaign. Both are really good. I really wish they would do foreteller or some narration app because I'm fucking sick and tired of having to read myself.
you'll have to tell
But
Keith that when you go to your next convention. Maybe.
speaking of Keith, I thought you were talking about my friend I played this
Oh
with.
no.
Hey friend, fucking you, why don't you read? Um, he actually commented on my review for Goldpack's Secret and confirmed more content is coming. I'm like,
My
that's
shelves
cool.
aren't heavy enough as it is. Good Lord.
I know. I
That's like
know.
the heaviest game.
Um, the expansion is good. I actually am kind of annoyed that that the Nephra's Judgment expansion doesn't cross-play, but they do a really cool job. One thing at the very beginning of that campaign, you get like a job or like a role that constantly throughout the campaign it's asked, are you a blacksmith? Are you a whatever? And if you're not, you just miss on a lot of options. So the replayability is here. This gives me the same vibes as Fate Forge. It's not a 600-hour campaign. You can finish it and be like, I want to play again, do something different, make different choices, and see the different narrative versus like, well, that took 2 years, never replaying this to
Yeah.
see what other options there are.
Yep.
So
So
yeah,
anyway,
great pick.
yep, that'll and it could get higher. I mean, just depending on if I want to dive into it more. Like
Hmm.
these games, I have so many of these games right now, and I know you do too. The campaign stuff. So it's just like there's only so much time.
And the problem is I want to record them all, so
Hmm.
that makes it even more difficult.
Right.
Um, so yeah, good pick. All right, this one, my number 46, makes me sad. It was number 7 last year, and it was number 7 the year before.
My 46 fell a long ways too. So we'll get
Man,
to that.
I hope it's the same game. It's not gonna be. I'm actually legitimately surprised that it is this far back, but there is a real reason at this point. My number 46 is
Oh,
Marvel Champions.
yeah.
And this has no problem with the game because I still think this game is amazing and I still will buy every expansion that comes out. But I think at this point I'm fatigued on superheroes.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like like the MCU when this was hot and the MCU was hot, like oh man, it was a match made in heaven. But since like I mean the MCU is pretty much ass at this point. I know you want to watch the new Falcon um Captain
Captain America.
America.
Yeah.
And your response is kind of what I'm seeing from the more positive reviews of that. It's not the worst, but at this point, you need glowing reviews from Marvel to make it kind of worthwhile, and it's just been downhill since Endgame. Um, but kind of with this game, the reason why it dropped so low, I was on top of it. Every expansion that was coming out, I was getting to the table, I was recording. I know you fell way back.
Yeah, I'm mostly caught up now. Like I haven't played Magneto.
I haven't played Magneto and the other one that came out. Nightwing? No, not Nightcrawler.
Yeah, I played that one finally.
Okay. I
Yeah.
have both of those on my shelf, and every time I look at them, I'm like, I don't want to grab my Marvel Champion stuff right now. I don't want to set it up to play those characters and then just be like, oh, they were good and put them with the rest of them.
And we just got charged, at least I did, through the deal like Agents of Shield's coming. That
Yep.
campaign where we're what, three campaigns behind
Dude, we're
now
like
or something like that.
4, man. I think we're on the one I think after Galaxy's Most Wanted.
Oh yeah, because we just
No.
fit. We're doing Sinister, aren't we, right now? We're
Yeah, we're
doing
on Sinister 6, so I think
yeah,
there's like 4 that because we haven't finished that one.
right.
So
We
that's
almost need to
four.
pick a day where it's just Marvel Champions, I guess, and just plow through.
I
But
agree. We probably should because the gameplay of this game is so fucking good.
yeah,
Like, I know when you're comparing this one and Arkham Horror LCG and Lord of the Rings LCG in tiers, I mean it's Lord of the Rings isn't anywhere near my list. That's my least favorite though out of all of them, which is kind of a shame because I love Lord of the Rings way more than Marvel and Cthulhu's up there.
I think you'd like those saga boxes that I
I
have if we played
might,
through
but
them
I
all.
the deck building and gameplay I don't
Yeah,
like for Lord of the Rings as much.
yeah.
Because here I know there's deck building in Marvel Champions, but you really don't need to
You don't have
at
to.
all. Those precons are solid. But if you really want to, there's people out there who will come up with thematic, be like, oh, here's Quicksilver from this version of Quicksilver, make this
Yeah,
deck. And that's awesome. There's a lot of resources out there to make Marvel Champions amazing. But it's pretty much plug and play. Pick a hero that you really like, um, and pick a villain that you think is a good matchup and fight them. But I do primarily play this game solo or
yeah.
two, and I have tried it three. It's long.
Well, the hit points for the mastermind is like it's so out of so crazy.
Yeah, and that's really
You
all that changes. It's just it becomes way too long for really what it's worth. But still, I know I haven't tried Nightcrawler or Magneto, but all the previous ones before that, I'm like, okay, how can they possibly do anything unique with this character? Then I play him, and I'm like, wow, how did Jubilee seem be super fun? I don't even know who the fuck this person is.
know?
So this game is amazing, but it fell because every time I was matching it up to something, I would get exhausted looking
Yeah,
at Marvel Champions.
yeah. I
So
understand that. It'll
nothing
be on
against the
my
game.
list. It'll be on my list down the ways a little
I
ways.
was I was low key hoping it was also 46
No,
for some
no.
reason. Um, but yeah, like this one, I would gameplay wise, it should be higher, but for some reason, I'm just like, if I'm looking at the two new expansions and I'm mentally exhausted to even want to play them, I don't think it needs to be as high as seven at least, but still in my top 50. If we do end up doing just a Marvel Champions Day and just really just get into it, then this will skyrocket next year for sure. I don't
Yeah,
see this falling any further, but who knows?
yeah. All right, good
I don't know.
choice.
There needs to be some way to make these card games better for storage. Like my Arkham Horror LCG, I now have in binders, like really thematic Necronomicon looking binders, which is sexy. Um, and I think that will help that game just because of the deck building element, where it's like, oh, time to level up, and you just rifle through a binder to pick and pull out cards. But yeah, I don't know how you do it. Deck boxes, maybe?
Yeah, I don't know.
Or,
I
like
mean,
maybe,
I just use the same thing you do, the Hobby Lobby boxes and
yeah.
the dividers off of that one site, and just do it that way.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely works for storage, but I guess I'm asking like for gameplay setup purposes because with this game, I have three, three or four of those broken token
Mm-hmm.
um
Yeah, me too.
Hobby Lobby things, and it's like, unfortunately, you have to carry all of them if you want to
Right.
play it. So yeah, I don't know. If anyone has amazing ideas of how to store Marvel Champions, let me know. But yeah,
Oh,
that's my.
and use
Go ahead.
dice for hit points.
Oh yeah, that I really
That's a
do
big
need
one.
to do. Yeah, those tokens, the hit points and the threat and the special
Mhm.
tokens.
Yeah, I bought all
Yeah.
these special dice that are like marvelly look like they're not Marvel dice, but they're kind of that color
You
scheme
know what would
that
be
way.
sexy?
But
You know that how they have like those mini tiny dice?
mhm.
Get those, but they're Freedom 5. Like those Freedom 5
Oh yeah,
dice,
yeah,
but like if they were mini, that would be
yeah,
really good.
yeah.
Anyway, that's my 46 Marvel Champions.
All right. So as I talked about earlier, my number 46 fell a lot. It was 11 last year. Um,
Okay.
and it fell probably because it's because I haven't played it because I love this game. And I don't know if you've talked about I want to say you've already talked about this game maybe on your list. I'm not 100% certain, but it's kind of one of those hybrid games where it combines um, worker placement and deck building. It came out around the same time as another game that kind of tried to do the same thing, but this one was better than it. And I know it fell just because I haven't played it, and that is Lost Ruins of Arnak.
I did talk about this. It was 67.
Okay. I thought I'd remember you saying it, but this one, if I'm playing this game, it's going to be a top 20 game generally. At least I think so. But I just haven't touched it this year. Like I got all the, I have all the expansion stuff and all that and everything. I just one of those things that just never hit the table this year. But this one was kind of CGE's big home run that year, and it kind of came out of nowhere too at that time. But they've done really well with the support for this game, giving it nice expansion content.
Essential expansion content, I'd say.
Right, and then
at least for that leaders expansion.
Right, and then they went for they adjusted it and added stuff for solo players, and everything. So it's pretty much though, just like what you talked about a couple segments ago. You only have a couple of workers, and you sit there and you're thinking, it's like, okay, how am I going to get everything done with just these few workers? But you start chaining all these different actions and abilities together. It's kind of has that Everdell effect in a weird way, like how you only start with a few workers, but then by the time the game's over, you're doing all kinds of crazy shit. This is that same way, and you'd look at this game, and one of the things that caught me with this was the component quality, because like you see the plastic, the arrowheads and all that stuff, you'd be like, oh, is this like a special
deluxe upgrade
edition, deluxe? Yeah, but it's like, it's not. I mean, the only thing that you can get upgrades for if you get online is the coins and the compasses, but everything else is nice. But like we had said, like this is it, worker placement. It's also deck building. You are when you purchase certain things, they'll go on in your discard pile unless you buy the artifacts. The artifacts, if you happen to pick those up, those are super powerful things, and you get to actually do the action when you buy it, and then it goes on top of your deck. Right? Yeah.
Man,
it's been a while.
Is there that is correct. It's which is something that I don't think any deck builder has done.
No,
that's such an awesome addition, because whenever you're looking at your standard actions, you're like, okay, this is what I can do, and then you look over, and then you see 3 or 4 extra cards, and you're like, oh, wait a minute. If I can activate that, if I can purchase that, it's not just activated to get the ability. You'll get the card, but you get its ability immediately. That opens up tons of combos that you might be able to do, and then later on, you just need to have a tablet to activate it again.
Right.
That's so cool.
It was a very ingenious little deal, and and it's not an over long game either. It's 5 rounds, I think, because that staff moves, and that's kind of your timer at the deal. But ultimately, it just in the base game, this was the research track is what you needed to focus on. Like, and some people, talk bad about this game because that you had to do that. Which, I mean, that's a personal preference, but
I think that's a reductive. That's someone who probably upvoted Brass and downvoted Gloomhaven. That's kind of like those people where Lost Ruins of Arnak was being competed against with Dune Imperium. It's like, well, Lost Ruins of Arnak sucks. All you have to do is go up on the track. It's like, yeah, fucker. If everyone's doing that, then that's not the automatic win.
Yeah,
it's like, man, if you're playing Root and you're like, man, no one attacked that faction. They won. Game's broken. It's like, it's a war game.
Right.
Don't let someone run away with a potential 30 points.
Well, but the thing is, and that's another reason why these designers in CGE were smart, because if that was one of the things, but what they do in one of their expansions, they threw extra research boards.
Yeah, they almost doubled down on the research track, but made it like way more interesting with all the different boards.
And then the expansion also adds, the player powers. So you start off with different deals, which is awesome. they just did a lot of stuff with this.
Apparently, they're not done.
No,
I
that's
guess
what
an
I hear
expansion
too.
is supposed
So
to be coming out this year.
yeah, so now they just need to
Expansion and
fucking.
storage solution, I think, is what it
Okay, I was
is.
gonna say they better have a storage solution
I
because it's
think
starting
that
to get
is. I think
stupid.
it's a storage solution and maybe another expansion to,
Gotcha.
I would assume, round it out. But yeah, I mean, and my hope is that it's not to round it out. It's, hey, here's a storage solution because we're releasing future expansions.
Mhm. Yeah,
But at this
and
point, I think I'd be happy if they did one more, maybe two more, and it's like, all right, like this game doesn't have that much going for it. It's still a standard exploration game.
yeah. So anyway, I mean, there's not much more to say about it. It's just it was one of the really big surprises of 2020 when this came out.
Wow,
But yeah, it was a
nice.
good one.
Yeah, great game. My number 45 rose significantly. It was 91 last year. And I see this game continuing to stay up here, if not continuing to go up. I don't know if you've played it. I can't imagine you have. And this was all the rage a couple years ago, and they just released an expansion for it, and that is Sky Team.
Yes.
Scorpion Mask, they're a company that I keep my eye out on because the games that I've played that are by them are just so much fun. And it's funny because I was at Gen Con when this was released and people were in line for it. And I was going for I was gonna say Decrypto. That's not it. Is it Decrypto? Yeah, it is Decrypto. And I was going for that, and I was walking by it, and they're like, excuse me, the line's back there. I'm like, for what? And they're like, Sky Team. I'm like, I don't give a shit about that. What is? I had no idea what it was. And then I kept hearing about it. And then I was at a local game store one day, and it was right there. And I'm like, I keep hearing about this. I guess I'll buy it. And this game is so much fun. It is a two-player only cooperative game about landing a plane, but the niche is you are not allowed to talk to your co-pilot, which thematically makes no sense, but I like to headcanon it that it's a divorcing couple where they hate each other. So it's not the silent treatment the entire time. But you still gotta land the plane, otherwise everyone dies. Um, and the way that this game is just handled with the different modules and the scenarios that you pick that tell you what to throw in. Hey, this scenario is on this really short flight that has wind and ice and fuel you have to manage. And you also you have to manage all those while rolling dice and putting dice in various spots to ensure that you don't crash the plane, all while not being able to communicate with your team. But what's amazing about it is there is communication, it's just nonverbal. Like if you know that you have to get a range between, in this picture, 8 and 10 for your like your adjustment for your throttle, and I put a 5 there out of a D6, then that pretty much tells you that was my lowest die. Or it's like I'm really hoping that you got a low die because that's the best I can do. Um, but there's also mitigation for this. There's reroll tokens you can get that let you and your partner decide how many dice you want to reroll. And sometimes you'll roll it and you're like, those are all sixes. That's bad. And then you're like, well, I got to use this immediately. And it's like,
Right.
ooh. And then there's coffee. That's just a free action. Not a free action, but you can put any die there to get coffee, which lets you modify the value. I mean, the modularity of this game, of this very cheap game, an extremely challenging but rewarding two-player game, yeah, I mean, just really speaks volumes for it. I haven't touched the expansion yet, but I know for the most part it just gave more flights and more routes and a few modules to throw in. But it comes in like a tearaway package, almost like a foil seal, which was weird, but yeah.
So is that expansion the one that has the solo part to it? Because the one I know there was an expansion
Um,
that had solo for
I
Sky
can't
Team.
remember if it was if the expansion came with a solo or if there is a solo variant on BGG.
I think there was a solo variant that got because I know there was a solo variant that the designers or company actually took and added it to an expansion that they were releasing. So I don't know if it's this one that you have or if there's another expansion coming, but I know it's in one of the expansions because they were.
Well, there's only this one for now, the Sky Team Turbulence. Um, it's 20 scenarios. Turbulence introduces new rules and new modules. It doesn't say anything about a solo.
Sorry, it's another
Um,
expansion they're talking about because the guy Mike from One Stop was talking about how it got put into a new upcoming expansion.
Man, I am almost positive because I watched that video of his Turbulence. I'm almost positive he said that it was a variant that he
Well,
got
no,
off board
it
game geek.
was, but I think they accepted it and they're putting it in expansion. Is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
Like I think it must be because it was in their top solo games of the year or whatever, and they were looking
Okay.
at fans, and he mentioned that it's coming in a package now.
Oh, okay, cool.
Something.
Well then
So
there you go. Yeah, this one's just awesome and it's such a low footprint game that like I mean you can travel with this and take it to a bar or a hookah lounge,
there
which
you
is where I've played it the most. And yeah, just something about the way that this works and the cooperation, the silent where it's like, okay, please understand why I put this die there, and when they do, you're like, awesome, okay, we got it. So yeah, and there's so much modularity in here. You don't really need the expansion because the base game does have a ton of content already, and you can just make your own. You don't even have to follow what their scenarios do. You can just randomly be like, okay, let's go here and let's throw in these modules and just see what happens.
go. Right.
So, yep, that's my number 45, Sky Team.
All right. My number 45 is new to my list. It's not a new game. This game actually came out 10 years ago,
Oh,
2015. So it's a new to me game. Everybody's always talked about how good this game is, and I never did really jump on it or anything, but I finally took the plunge. It's designed. One of the designers is Simone Luciani again, so you've got your pedigree there. I don't know if you've played this or anything, but it's called Grand Austria Hotel. No, okay. Um,
that looks
so
10 years old though.
well, this is the new version too. So,
Oh God.
but yeah, so this one, like I said, the theme didn't really ever sound that great with me, but I've kind of gotten, like I've said several times in this list already, like Euros have kind of started taking more of a forefront for me. So I went on and tried this one. Plus, one of the big mechanics of this game is one of the other things that I talked about earlier with like Kingsburg and stuff. A lot of my Euros, I like when um, you roll dice and then those dice, you place the dice and that the value of the dice gives you stuff. So that's kind of where I'm at with this game. It's a dice placement. You get actions off of that and everything. But pretty much what you're doing is you are there's several actions you can do, but you are trying to lure and recruit guests to come to your specific hotel. You're trying to just be the most prestigious hotel is what you're working for, but you are whether it's trying to get rooms ready, you have to worry about hiring staff, you have to do all these different things like managing a hotel. Yeah, you complete orders like like room service type stuff for different people. It's the art's not great, like I said, but they're like but it's an interesting game because of the dice placement and then the recruitment of other stuff. The setup is always different at the beginning as well, because it just adds the replayability because it's going to different cards and different stuff will be set up, at the beginning of the game, which is always nice. So it's not repetitive. You don't have that puzzle to solve like if it sets up the same at the beginning of every game. But you're just trying to. You're not, and this is another one of those, and you're not going to be able to do everything you want, which is
Okay.
in my mind a good Euro does. Is because
I agree.
because if you're able to do everything you want, then it's just kind of like you're going to do it, but you're not going to be able to do everything you want in this game. So you just kind of have to pick your path and see how it works.
Yeah.
Um, but it's a 7 round game. You play through 7 rounds, and you just hope that you create the right stuff,
Nice.
and you get bonus actions, of course, and different stuff like that too. This was one I don't know where it'll be in the future, but like right now, this is one right in that kind of that mid Euro, probably midway Euro, a little bit on the
Well, it said
higher end.
expert level on the box. It was
Well,
hard to
but
miss.
as
So,
expert level was also on the box for Ottawa, the Atiwa, the bat game, and it was
oh,
that, and it wasn't either. It's this kind of lookout games likes to put expert level on stuff, and it's not like
right. It's
you
like,
know,
dude, this is for babies.
yeah. So
No,
anyway,
I think this game for some reason had like a resurgence recently. I think there's kind of
mhm,
and it's interesting because I was watching the Dice Towers Top 100, and they were kind of like questioning why certain games are becoming like old games are becoming more prevalent now. My theory, which they didn't bring up, is that shit's fucking expensive now, and no one can afford these $300-$400 Kickstarters. So you're going back to
mhm.
games that are affordable. And that's why these games are like, it's like, oh shit, yeah, this game from 2015 is really good. Like, yeah, it's like that meme of the astronauts where it's like, wait, so Grand Austria Hotel is good? It always was. Like, that's what it feels like to me, where people just don't want to spend hundreds of dollars because the uncertainty of shit, where it's like, I'm gonna hold on to this,
Yeah.
but you
Well,
don't want to completely be hoarding money. It's like, I gotta have something to
right.
distract me.
Well, and I think also it's just there's a transition. A lot of people, because like Ameritrash type games are what got me into this
Hmm.
hobby, and then it's like as I get older and play more, I kind of starting to veer towards the puzzle
Yeah.
of Euros. So like I I just picked this up because it came into stock on Miniature Market. I nabbed it, and stuff because these are the kind of games I'm kind of looking at now a lot, so but it's definitely a good one. I mean, I can see why all the hype was on it, why people
Yeah.
always talk it up and everything.
Well, Simone Luciani, that's a sexy man right there. He knows what he's doing.
I don't know the other dude. Ver,
He was on
Virginio
Lorenzo.
Ziegel,
Yeah, he
huh?
was on. I looked him up. He was on Lorenzo Il
Okay, I
Magnifico. He
love
was on
Lorenzo. So
Coimbra.
okay,
Um, he was on a few others that I know you
good,
like.
yeah. Well, there you
So, all right,
go.
good pick. My number 44 is new to the list. It's my only new one. Um, and this one's actually an interesting story, so I'll go ahead and jump right to it. My 44 is
Ah,
Evian. I specifically picked the Ram and the Raven, because this one was my favorite box set that I've played so far. Um, so the story of this one, this is a 1v1. Uh, they call it a hero crafting game. But again, they come out with precons and you could just play as those. But you kind of pick the hero and then like traits for him, and that's going to put in cards into their deck. So there's a lot of uh like hero customization that you can do, but you don't have to. So Ape Games a couple years ago, I had demoed this at Gen Con, and it was one of their sorcerer versus wizard. I was like, oh, this is super fun because I really love battling mages as a theme. And so I got their like season one stuff. And then I went home and played the Knight versus the Illusionist or whatever it was called, and it was fucking ass. And I was like, Gen Con, that convention hype where you're like, you
yeah.
seeded this fucking demo. This game actually sucks, and it was awful. We had a horrible time, so I sold all of it. But yet something about this game just kept drawing me back to it. So last year, I went by their booth and they had like their season three stuff out. And I was like, you know what? Let me sit down for a demo. And I played it and I was like, damn it, am I going to pick all this up again? And I talked to one of the designers and I was telling him, hey, one of your boxes felt super unbalanced. He's like, which one did you play? I'm like, the Illusionist one. He's like, oh yeah, no, that is a horrible matchup. We aren't even selling that.
Well,
So
there you go.
I got justification from the designer that not that the characters are unbalanced, but that specific matchup. Because you buy them as individual box sets of one, two. fighters. And that was a imbalanced matchup, and it very much is. Because I've reviewed all the ones I currently have, season 1 and 2. Anyway, all that being said, knowing that, replaying all these boxes, this game is so much fun. I I got the feeling that I got when I first played it. The different characters, the way they play, the management of resources that you have to do, the really cool power-ups you can give yourself, the ultimates you can have, and the hero crafting as an add-on with the added element of tactical movement. Because a lot of these games like could just be a card game. It could be Magic, it could be whatever. But the fact that you have specific movement and spatial awareness, that cards and spells go out on the board, totems and stuff, the way that each character is different is amazing. So, because I really do like 1v1 games, that emphasize uniqueness. And this game certainly does that. So I ended up going all in. Luckily, their season 3 and 4, I think, were still on crowdfunding, so I went and got that. I hate the production of this. The components and everything are good, but I hate that individual box with no way to store all of them, except through their Kickstarter, where they do have storage solutions for all of it, which I will be getting. But yeah, this one, I have done all the boxes for seasons 1 and 2, and every one of them feels different. Even if some of them share kind of a class, because there's like 2 characters that deal with like they have shields and stuff, but what they're also paired with is different. But also who you're going to be playing against will determine different strategies. So it gives me an awesome 1v1 dueling mage feeling. So.
We do.
That's why it's up here. But that's my fun story about how they confirmed that the illusionist and the knight, or whatever they call it, they have stupid names, even though the names of these boxes are not what the original, like what the characters' names are. The hound and the hare, that's what it's called. But it's like the knight and the illusionist are what their classes are called.
Right.
2 awesome characters. The illusionist is really good. And the knight is really good, but against each other, it is not even fair.
Yep.
But so if you just don't pair them up, then you're solid.
Yeah, I've seen these around. I just never have played them or picked them up for anything.
Yeah,
So
and there's no way you ever would.
Yeah, right.
Like, unless you're playing it with me. But even then, like, yeah, this one is a lot of fun. Again, another tournament that I want to do. Just gotta find that time
Yep.
on top of all the campaigns I need to do.
Right. Exactly.
But yeah, Evian, new to the list. We'll see where it falls, as time goes on. But yeah, this one I do. I'm glad I'm able to enjoy this.
Perfect. All right. My number 44 is a crossover on this list.
Oh, god damn, Marvel Champions, the card game.
Nope.
I would imagine Summoner Wars. No,
Nope.
no, you said it wasn't on your list, so then it has to be Castles of Burgundy.
It is. Yeah.
Nice.
And so I don't really have much more to add to this. I mean, I've played the original version of this and really liked it because of again, the dice, the dice placement, all that stuff. That's kind of the theme. But this one is just an awesome overproduced version.
It's also great.
What's that?
I really like this cover.
Yeah, that's a good
It's
one.
a very pretty cover. Gives me like Bob Ross feelings.
Yeah. But I just finally got the other acrylic tokens because they did a reprint for this on GameFound, and I just backed it just to get the 1 acrylic tokens because
Same. Don't know why it doesn't fit.
I think a lot of people. I think a lot of people did it that way too because a lot of people they snuck those acrylics in and the pledge manager and people didn't know. So
that shit is it, and it's not even shady. Like I don't think it's shady business practice, but it doesn't make any sense where it's like, here's the version that has acrylic tokens, except for these 3.
Right.
And it's not like, oh, those acrylic tokens won't fit in the box, but everything else will, because all the other acrylic tokens don't fit in the fucking box. So it wasn't a storage issue.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
there's actually a 3D file to get all the everything to fit with acrylic and everything for this game.
Nice.
So I'm gonna look into it and see what it looks like. But I've kind of earmarked it as one I want to get. But yeah, I mean it's production's badass. It's the same kind of thing. Like I mean, like I said, there's not much more for me to add to it. It's a prettier version of the original, and then you throw in the vineyard expansion. That was something that came
That one
special.
was new. I think that was
Yeah,
new to
that was the new
special
part.
edition.
Yes, yeah. So it's there. It's a great game. It's always going to be up here just because, like I've said, that whole dice placement stuff has always been my thing recently. So yeah, I mean
If you
that's
like
fine.
dice placement, it's not on my list because I just played it for the first time, but I highly recommend you look at Pulsar 2849.
I've heard of it. I just have never messed with it. Yeah.
I just played it for the first time at 2. Um, and oh man, it's so good.
Good. I'll need to
So
check it out.
dice placement there. But yeah, good pick. This is a great game.
Yep. Agreed.
My number 43 uh I think this was on your list way early. I think it was in the 90s. Or maybe not. I don't remember. You'll have to tell me. Because I think you've only played this game once. And I know you want to play it again with someone who has actually played it a lot. It was 41 last year, so it fell 2 spots, but it was 45 the year before, so it stayed relatively consistent in the 40s. And I finally have my, funny enough, Awaken Realms production of
Yes.
Robinson Crusoe. I'm like, of Brad, fucking hit the button.
Let's see. That was my 95.
95. Okay, I thought it was on your list.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is, oh man, I got my collector's edition. I don't think you had the collector's
No,
box.
I just had the retail.
Loser. Uh, but yeah, I got my sexy collector's edition that is horribly reviewed on Board Game Geek because Portal Games somehow, I don't know how they do it. They somehow fucked up a almost a gimme with Awaken Realms redoing this. It was Awaken Realms, right? Yeah. Yeah,
I
I
think
think they
so.
helped with the updated components because that's just what Awaken Realms does now. Um, but this game is amazing. This one is a extremely solid old cooperative game that is just incredibly brutal. And actually, I answered my own question with Castles of Burgundy. This game is better with the upgraded components because one, you get an upgraded rulebook, and if you get the scenario book, which might be what they have there, it is organized in scenarios based off difficulty and theme. So as you go in, you get to be able to pick a scenario that fits whatever vibe you're going for, and it will be there. And there are so many scenarios to pick that they did an awesome job. And I know other games have kind of done this, but like they have these universal tokens that just have things on them that mean nothing, but the scenario will call out those tokens, and that will mean something based off the scenario that you're doing, and that's awesome. But this is a programming game where you are just trying to survive on an island. Like the very first one is you're just trying to light a bonfire. You're trying to go out, explore, collect enough wood, build up a little settlement to be able to get enough tools that will help with other actions. Um, and you have these discs that represent you, and you're like, what's really cool is it's like, okay, do we do less actions but guarantee success, or do we do more actions and run the risk of failure? And I really like that decision making in this game because yeah, you can do a bunch of actions and succeed on all of them, and that's going to be a really good turn. Or you could fail on a bunch or have events that will help you in at that point in time, but will almost guarantee hurt you later on. And the only other game that does that kind of event management that I've seen is Frostpunk, where it's like, okay, here's something that we can do right now, but later on it's going to come back to bite us, and I really like that. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, this game was, I mean, it stands the test of time. I know that the special edition is kind of was a pain in the ass, but the gameplay is still extremely solid. It's a very, very difficult cooperative game, but that's what you want, I think. You want your cooperative game because if once you beat it, if you well, like it's kind of like roguelite video games to me, where once you beat a roguelite or a cooperative game enough, like consistently, I lose interest. It's like, well, where's the challenge? Besides making it arbitrarily difficult, like roguelites, Dead Cells, for example, is like, yeah, no enemies one shot you. It's like, okay, fuck that. You know, I don't need that kind of challenge. But there's a lot going on in this game. I really, really like it, and the upgraded just scenario book is Chef's Kiss. So yeah, it's a very solid one. My number 43, Robinson Crusoe.
Yeah, I think after playing my retail version of this, I kind of want the fancy version. Just,
Yeah.
but I mean,
I mean, there's
yeah,
also the storage solution that
right.
helps a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, they have it where it's like the settlement. I mean, that's completely unnecessary, but the settlement where it's like, okay, now we're building a wall, and you add the wall to it because you have to manage your weapon level, your settlement wall level to fend off not monsters, but creatures, animals are what they're called, creatures. That it's like, oh, okay, we got some food, and that food actually attracted a bear, and now we have to fight off this bear. Um, it just does. It's so thematic too. So yeah, this one's a good one. So that's my 43.
All right. My number 43 was 30 last year, so it fell a little bit. It's just because I haven't played it as much this year, but it's always going to be a game up here, if not a little higher. Um, it's going back to those damn dice placement Euros, and we actually just brought it up when talking about my last pick,
Pulsar
and that
2849. Oh,
is Lorenzo Magnifico.
there he is.
Yep, there he is.
Virginio Giggly.
Yes, so
I'm canceled.
Jiggly, probably Jiggly. I bet
Jiggly. It's actually Guy Gly. That
Yeah.
guy comments. He somehow sees this and he's like, "I'm taking you to court. It's a cease and desist. Remove this video."
Yeah. All
And
right.
Flaminia Brasilia.
So Lorenzo Magnifico was a game that I'd heard, a handful of things about. Actually, Simon actually put this out first, which was kind of weird, a weird move by Simon to put a game like this out at that time. But Cranio Creations is who mainly is putting it out now. But yeah, we played this, didn't we? Didn't I
Nope.
bring it? And
Oh,
I thought we
no.
played it
Well,
once.
we play no, and I didn't do very well. So we
But you've played it.
no.
Seriously, I could have swore we played this game. I
No.
thought I taught it to you. All right. So
Do you know someone who looks like me?
no, because
Are you okay?
I thought I brought this when you were up in Independence. I thought I taught it to you.
No, I'm sure. I know we talked about it because I know you want me to try it because there's
Okay.
two versions, right? Or there's
Well,
is there two
this one,
versions?
this one, and then there's an expansion that has variable player powers
Oh, okay.
and some modular stuff. But anyway, in this game, you are
God, dude.
you every
At least my games look good.
well, this one stands out. So, this one is a you have your three colors of dice there, and they get rolled, and then those go into those slots, and then that will tell you where you have your family, where you place your family members. So, if you look at your family member pawns, you have one of them that has an orange for the orange dice, one of them white, one of them black, and those will be where you'll place everywhere to use that dice's abilities. So you're looking at these towers, which you're getting cards that are going to help you do different things. There's all these different deals, but the cool thing is you can only have one family member per tower. So like once you put one in that tower, then you can't put another one of your family members in there unless you have the brown guy is kind of a wild in a way. But you're building up your own little area. So you're exploring, you're adding tiles that kind of expand your place. And you're just gathering resources and stuff. There's a religion track here also. that like you
You
can.
lose victory points the higher you get.
Well, no, like you move up that track, but then there's a phase where you can decide, hey, I want to take that many victory points, but then you fall all the way back.
Oh,
So you
okay.
can let it build up as much as you want, but then you can fall back. But you have to be past a certain number, or else you get penalized by the church. So,
Yeah, of
so
course.
it's right.
Can't
So
worship
it's
God without paying the church.
right, exactly. So this was just one of those games that just sings like the gameplay way outdoes the look of the game, of course,
Oh, I'm sure.
and then when you add the expansion for the variable player powers, it really
Hmm.
it makes it even cooler. And I just adore this one, and it's always going to be up here. I just hadn't played it a whole lot.
These games are difficult for me to get excited about just by hearing it. I almost have to immediately play them because every single one you've brought up, and this is not like a knock on you, just even if I was describing them, it's like you're gathering resources and going up on a track. They all sound the fucking same. But I know when you play them, they all play differently and feel different. It's like, oh, boom. So it's like every time I'm looking at these kinds of games, I'm like, this sounds like it'd be a 7 out of 10, you know. But
I think you would just thinking about some other games that you like. I think this would be one that you would probably think higher of. Like,
really,
like I like this one. Like, there's Merlin that I like.
hmm
I mean, and you didn't care for that one. This one's mechanics and everything like blow Merlin away in
yeah,
my mind. So it's like this one's a
yeah.
really sharp one.
It's funny. I can own a million whodunit games or a million camp fantasy dungeon crawl campaign games, and I'm sure to a lot of people those sound the same, you
Mhm.
know. Um, but Euro games, it's like there's the ones that I have that are like 8 or 9 out of 10s, and if a new one comes in, it's like, yeah, this was good. I got these other ones, you know. But like that's why whenever a new one that or an older one, but that I've played, like a Pulsar 2849 is a great example. That came out 20 something. I
Yeah,
literally
I can't
looked it up
remember.
because I Pulsar 2017 is when that game fucking came out, and I
Yeah,
just played it, and I'm like, this is amazing, you know. So not knocking this game at all. I do want to try it, uh, but it's just an interesting kind of dynamic now with because I don't want to own every game, but there are games that we've played that I kind of do want to own because I'd probably get it played more, you know.
yeah,
But we'll
yeah.
give it a shot. Is it on the sexy Google
I'm
Doc?
not sure if it is or
It
not.
it is not.
Okay.
I'll add it.
Okay.
Lorenzo il Magnifico.
Yes.
Nice. And you have the expansion, right?
Yes.
Because Vario player powers is definitely. I mean that alone will get me to like a game.
hmm Yeah. Yeah. And they're
Nice.
balanced well too. So
Cool. Cool, dude. Are you being robbed or something? You keep like
no,
look.
I'm looking over because I have a kid who I paid to shovel my driveway and stuff, and he just showed up. And I was waiting to
Oh,
see if he's
okay.
going to ring the doorbell or not. So if he
Oh,
does,
I
I have to go.
gotcha.
So if he rings the doorbell at some point, I may have to.
Don't worry. You
Yeah.
know, you can actually go do that because you're not gonna like my number 42.
Oh, okay. Well,
My
let's see.
42, funny enough, was also 30 last year. And it was 17 the year before. This will always be on my list because I'm technically cheating, but even if I wasn't, it would still be on the list. This is an amalgamation of almost every version of this game, and that is
Hmm,
Pandemic.
yes. See you later.
Um, well, hold on. We've gotten like a few months into the first Legacy game, and as I recall, you did not hate it.
No, that was
Um,
fine. It was fine, and I
yeah.
like the Fall of Rome.
Oh, you have
Um,
played Fall of Rome.
yes,
Oh, okay.
and I'm probably going to pick up the Lord of the Rings one. That
I pre-ordered that one
yeah,
because I think from what I heard the the oh God, Iberia and Fall of Rome, I think now when they print them, it doesn't say Pandemic, you know, Fall of Rome. I
right.
think it says Fall of Rome, a pandemic system.
I think yeah, I
Um,
think you're right.
I haven't tried the WoW one or the Star Wars one. Um, But Pandemic is a staple at this point. It's the reason why pandemic. It's the reason why the pandemic happened. It's the reason why cooperative games are what they are. I don't believe Pandemic was the first cooperative board game. In fact, I know it wasn't, but it definitely is the reason why they are incredibly popular. I've always loved the original. The expansions for the original, I think, are extremely good. On the Brink is okay, just added kind of more factions, but Hinterlands and the In the Lab are phenomenal expansions, even though I haven't played base Pandemic in forever. And
Yeah,
Iberia is exquisite. Fall of Rome is really good, but that was the game I think that made them realize, oh, we can do other games with
yeah,
this system
yeah,
because it's the one that's the most attached. Rising Tide is fucking shit. It is so bad. That is the only Pandemic system game I've played that I was like trash. The Cthulhu one is really good too, but at the end of the day, this would probably be a little bit lower if those legacy games did not exist.
hmm,
You could not have asked. I mean, the experience of the legacy games alone, when you play through them for the first time, when they came out, was something else. It kickstarted that legacy craze, kind of like the 3D, how Avatar kickstarted that 3D movie craze. But
yeah,
because no game was ever able to live up to those expectations, it essentially died. Um,
yeah. I would agree.
and
Sorry, I didn't
Oh, you're
put
fine.
through.
Oh, this is the OG.
Yeah,
But yeah, Legacy, I mean, all of them are great. Season one, two, and zero are phenomenal, and they're definitely worth going out and picking up. And yeah, just the pandemic system, I really enjoy it. I think people knock it for having that quarterback element, but I really just think that's a player problem, not really a game problem. Although I think they can kind of go hand in hand because if the game is designed to where there's really only one way to win, um, at any given point, then it's a cooperative game that's going to feel like someone's quarterbacking when it's like, no, that's not me telling you what to do. That's just the only option. Otherwise, we will lose. Well, I want to do this action that makes us lose. Okay. I actually played a game of Legacy where someone made a decision that made no sense. And because Legacy keeps your failures from game to game, it like we had it all contained, but instead of doing something, he went off, I think, to North America and it caused it to breach over into North America. So then for the rest of the game, it's spread out and it's like, here's a permanent reminder of why you don't go rogue.
yes,
But yeah, it's I mean, Pandemic is amazing. I don't know what else to say except that the legacy games are phenomenal.
yeah.
So I'm excited about the Lord of the Rings one.
Oh yeah, me too. That's gonna be interesting. It has that big dice tower of the
Hmm.
Eye of Sauron and all that stuff. That'd be
Yeah,
interesting.
$70. $70.
Yeah, but I mean,
But I
you know,
mean, Lord of the Rings, and besides War of the Ring, I don't have a solid Lord of the Rings game in my collection.
yeah, you need to fix
So
that.
I mean, they're none of them are good. War of the Ring is amazing, but like I've played the what was it, the Reiner Knizia Lord of the Rings,
Hmm.
and I went through it and I'm like, yep, this went through kind of the movies or the book. That's it. But yeah,
Yeah. All right. I wish so there's I've grown, like there's some pandemic things that I will play now.
yeah, and not just not just completely hate it because it's not the shitty dice one.
Yeah. No, I love the dice. The dice one I like. I like Fall of Rome.
Because Fall of Rome
I-
feels more Defenders of the Realm.
right. And then I like um what was the other one? Oh, I think I'll like the Lord of the Rings one because of how it goes.
Yeah,
But
and eventually, because I still have season one,
yeah,
and I on in Shrink season two. So
yeah,
we'll
yeah.
eventually play those, get them done.
But I've
We'll just
also
have to scratch out my ex-wife's character. Fuck you, bitch.
yeah
Fuck.
the the uh hypocrisy of my liking has finally changed because I love Defenders of the Realm. I like Freedom 5, and those games use that same stuff. So
I do.
so that's why kind of, but
You're like, well, it doesn't really make sense anymore for me to hate Pandemic.
I guess. I mean, I still don't like this base version, of course. I'd rather have some more different theme on it and stuff like the other ones. But yeah.
Sure.
But anyway, yep, that'll work. Good choice. All right.
Nice.
My number 42 is a game that you taught me back in the day, a couple of years ago, year ago. I don't know how long it was. It was 96 last year, so it made a big jump because I've actually played it with the expansion and stuff now. And on a sad note, the designer of this game just came out and announced here recently that he has been diagnosed with ALS. And he's kind of one of these hot new designers right now. So I don't know how that's going to change stuff, but hopefully he does all right. And that is...
You're kidding.
Nope. Danny Gard, he came out like a week or two ago announcing that he has ALS and stuff. So...
Oh, that fucking sucks.
I know. So it's like, he's put out some bangers already in in the young career of the designer, but so I don't know what, but yeah, it really,
that's a terrifying one right there, because there's no cure, right?
I know. Yeah.
I think they made, I know there was that fucking ice bucket challenge, which I mean raised awareness and raised a lot of money. I think there's progress on that. Like, it's better than what it was, but there's no cure. And God, that's brutal. I didn't hear anything on that.
Yeah. It was just announced here just not too long ago, and it's kind of sucks. But he put a statement out, saying that, I can't remember exactly what it said. He's the one that announced it and everything. So it was just kind of a rough deal. But anyway, so like this one was one that I was excited to play. You'd picked it up, I think, at Gen Con or something, and we played it after.
Yeah, I went to Board and Dice, and it was I was picking one of their games. It was this one or Nucleum, and the guy selling it was talking about, he's like, oh, Barcelona is like a point salad, has a lot of actions to take, and it's a lot. And I was like, all right, yeah, sure, I'll pick it up. And yeah, glad I did.
Yeah, and this one almost feels like a Feld in a weird way because of being the point salad, because that's how a lot of Feld's games are. There's just points everywhere. But this one also just beautiful. Like the cover is very colorful. Like a lot of his games have, Windmill Valley, Barcelona. These games are like really colorful and they pop, when you see the covers and when they're on the table. But what was cool about this game is you're kind of rebuilding Barcelona, and what was neat about this game was the grid system for how you would build your places on the board. You also, when you spent certain classes of people, you could do different things with, and then those tracks. It was a unique scoring deal because you'd pull those deals and then you'd place them on these tracks as you'd go, and then that would set when there was a scoring phase and stuff. If I remember correctly, yeah, I think that's what it was, because you'd lay them down on that deal, and that would set up different aspects.
There was like it was based off the citizens.
The citizens
would go on her, which was extremely unique.
It was,
and how well you were fulfilling. What is his name? Barcelona. His name was, he was like the...
Oh, you're talking about the main dude, like the one that...
The guy who was all about, was it urbanism?
Was it Ildefons Cerda? Who's not considered the inventor of urbanism? Yeah, I was looking at BGG here, and it's got...
Yeah, who was considered the inventor of urbanism. Yeah, so if you actually are rewarded for following his dream of urbanism within Barcelona, but you also get a lot of points if you don't do that.
Yeah.
So it's really cool.
Well, and this was when we played this game. I remember it because I thought I was doing really well. I was ahead in the point track. I had all these cathedral things I was buying to put on top of my board. I had all this stuff going, and whatever the hell happens, you had all these end game scoring things, and you fucking almost lapped me in that one last round.
Well, because the end game, you can, if you put them on your board, you can get multipliers, and that's what I was building for. So you're just like, man, yeah, I'm way ahead. I'm like, yeah, you are now.
Yeah, but the expansion of this is cool because it just adds a tiny little sideboard that
Hmm.
adds a street that you're popularizing and stuff like that. But but yeah, I mean this one's a really cool game. And for being this was the first game in my mind that I think he put out. I want to say no,
Arborea.
there was Arborea he did
Yeah.
first. Yes,
That one
but
came first, then Barcelona, then Windmill Valley, and then Daitoshi, which I haven't
yeah, and
played
I
yet.
haven't played Daitoshi yet. I have it. I just
Yeah.
haven't played. I heard it's his deepest, like hardest game
Okay.
because it's like a
Yeah,
high level.
his statement came out. Oh, it doesn't say I guess almost a month ago. But yeah,
Yeah,
thank you from the bottom of my heart to everyone who has shown concerns about my health after a long diagnostic process. I have been diagnosed with ALS, and we are still coming to terms with the news. Now that everything is clear, I want to focus on what fulfills me most, creating games and spending time with my family. I deeply appreciate your support and understanding. That's fucking brutal, man. That
yeah.
sucks. But
Sounds like he's gonna keep making games though. So I mean,
I mean, if that's what he's passionate about
yeah,
and what he's good at, I mean, I wish him the absolute best and a peaceful process. That one's rough.
yeah.
So,
So
I mean, I'll keep supporting him because his games are great.
yeah,
But if they
very very
sucked,
nice.
no, I'm kidding. That's
No,
fucked up. No, I do really like. I hope. I mean, maybe I don't know if he goes to conventions. I can't imagine he's gonna be doing that.
he might.
Much.
I mean, it's a long that ALS stuff. It takes a while. I mean, most of the time, it
Yeah,
takes a while to really get to that point. But
that's true.
I don't know how far he's progressed right now.
Right. All right. Well, this is a really good game. It is. I don't think it was on my list though. Did I not talk about it? No, it was close though. It was in the 120s.
Gotcha.
Um, yeah, this one I like more than Windmill Valley. I like the system of Windmill Valley with that gear. I like that a lot. But I like Barcelona because it doesn't feel like you're able to do everything you want. Windmill
Oh, I
Valley kind
know.
of had that, oh,
Yeah,
we're able to do everything,
I would agree.
which I know Windmill Valley is releasing a small expansion this year.
Hmm. Yep. Yep. Yep.
So,
So, yep, that's my 42, Barcelona.
all right. My number 41 and the last one for this segment fell. It was number 19 last year, but now I actually have played this at the time of this recording, I played it 2 days ago, and it would 100% be back up. Probably around the 1920s for sure. And that is Massive Darkness
God,
2.
man, I need to play this
It's
because I
so
because
much
I want to
fun.
because there's that project that's on Game Time, which I know they'll do late pledges and stuff. I need to get this played so I can see if I like it.
Yeah. It's actually extremely interesting because one, the name, they fucked up with the name on this so much. They should have never tried to why would you be like, "Hey, here's our dud of a campaign. Let's reuse that. Remind people of that game." But then completely do it in a way better way. Um, and the one thing about this game that is a slight knock is I don't really care for the theme. Like the heaven hell aspect doesn't really do a whole lot for me, but man, the gameplay is so much fun. This is a pure dungeon crawl. Like there's no extra campaign. Well, that's not true. There is an expansion that makes the campaign. Um, but if you don't mess with that, you just pick a scenario, pick the character you want to play, kick the door in, and start killing. And what makes this game so amazing, and I've actually heard this as a really good comparison, and it was actually the Dice Tower's top 100 because Mike was propping up Merchant's Cove, and they were like, "Oh, Massive Darkness 2 is like Merchant's Cove, but with the rest of the game being fun."
Mhm.
And that's exactly what, because it's like every character is their own mini game, is their own way of playing. And the last game I played was with my girlfriend, and the rogue is this bag pulling element of how you get, because you get 3 actions a turn, and she draws tokens from her bag, and it's like, boom, here are extra actions to show she can get a ton of really cool combos. And I played the Ranger, and the Ranger has this deck of archery cards that's a push your luck element where you're trying to hit 7. Every archery card has like a certain number of
Right.
arrows on it. And if you draw 2, you draw a card and it's like, okay, there's 2 on it. and you draw another one and it has a 3 on it, and it's like, okay, that's 5. If I draw again and I go over, I overpower and I bust, and then it's not going to be great. But I can stop now and get these actions I might have to pay for, or if I hit 7, I can critical and do all these extra cool stuff. And the Berserker, the more damage he takes, the more actions he can get. Every character just feels completely different, and they're so much fun. I don't know what the hell this is, this scenario. Um,
Yeah, I'm not sure
but they have
either.
that element of being in the dark, and you get extra bonuses. The cooperation is super fun. And you know what I realized while playing this game? So, also at the point of this recording, um, you and I have been playing Avowed. Me more than you, but you got a decent ways into it. This feels like a traditional, almost roguelike game without other people. I know Avowed isn't a roguelike, but that sense of exploration
Hmm.
where you're not trying to you're trying to create an optimal build for your character, but it has that element of RNG where you are running in and you just get to open up a loot chest. You could just, there's nothing stopping you from opening up a chest while you're in a room full of enemies. You open it up and then it's like, okay, draw the top card, and oh shit, it's a dagger, and which you can use, but it's not great for your character. Like, as the ranger, I could use a dagger, but that'd be stupid. But it's like, okay, that's not good for this run right now. So then you keep going, open up another chest, kill an enemy. That enemy has an item, because every enemy you pair with a mob item, and when you kill them, you get that item. So it's constant influx of items that whenever they die or you open up a chest and it's like, oh, sweet, it's this awesome level, it's this awesome bow. That's perfect for me. Equip it immediately. And you get really cool uh gear that just makes you even more powerful. You feel like a badass in this game. Um, the mobs aren't overwhelming like they were in Massive Darkness 1, where it was just like, oh, here's plastic, let's just sweep them across. The roaming monsters don't feel like they're just stupid. They actually will activate and do stuff, but they're not overwhelming. Like, yeah, they're a problem and you don't want to deal with them. And you're incentivized to deal with them because you get a lot of loot, but you you can kill them. And yeah, whenever I was playing it, like literally a couple days ago, I had this feeling of like, oh, you're constantly getting drops, item drops like a video game would give you, and sometimes it's like, oh, that's not good for my build right now. But you play another character and you get it again, and you're like, this is great, equip. And
Yeah,
that this game has the most video game feel versus other board games that try to incorporate that.
I really want to get this. I'm trying not to until I play it, but it's just hard. It's like,
Well, I'm playing it some nope, what's today? Today's Wednesday, right? Yep. I'm playing it tomorrow. Um, and I know we're gaming on Friday. Since it will be fresh in my mind, I know we got Elder Scrolls for sure we are doing.
oh yeah.
We can aim to get Massive Darkness done because it will be fresh in my mind, and I have it somewhat organized where I can get it set up.
I just want to do a short scenario just to watch
Yeah.
and see if I,
I won't do the tutorial. The tutorial is like two tiles and it's
yeah,
really nothing. But the first scenario really would still give you a feel.
yeah.
Um,
Because are they
I mean,
offering Hellscape in this next project too?
are
With
they? Oh, I have no
I
idea.
don't know. That's what I was asking. I didn't know, but I
Yeah, oh God, I actually don't know if they are.
yeah. So
I clearly haven't looked. I've just been looking for new stuff. Which the new stuff, that theme looks a lot more fun
yeah,
than
yeah.
this
I'll
one.
if we'll see if we have time and stuff.
Yeah.
I can watch some playthroughs too, but yeah,
Yeah,
yep,
but the one thing because I knew I was going to be talking about this soon. The one thing I really wanted to emphasize was how video game feel this is
yeah. That's cool.
of just the item drops and the builds that you get. If you can put it in your mind of a roguelike, like if you've played Dead Cells and you're running through, you open up a chest at Dead Cells and it's like, oh, these items aren't good for the run I'm trying to do because I've
Right.
taken these upgrades and it's just not going to work. But you play it again, same scenario, different random drops, and boom, now those same items are great for you.
All right. Yep. Sounds fun.
Yeah,
Sounds
so
fun.
it's here right now, and it's here at 41 because I had not played it like for a while
Right.
because it is kind of it's CMON, so it's a ton of shit.
Hmm.
But now I have it organized in a way that's a little bit easier, and I know there's an insert for it, but I got you working on something else. So I'm like,
Jesus.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
wait. I'm gonna
Yeah.
wait a bit
So,
before I ask him to print anything else off for me.
all right. Good
So yeah,
choice. All right. My number 41 is another Lord of the Rings game that you need to have in your collection. It's new to my list. It's new this year. Well, new 2024. And that is Lord of the Rings Duel for Middle Earth.
this
Um,
is in my cart. I do want
yeah.
this one.
Yeah, this one is top notch. If you like Seven Wonders Duel, this is a better version of Seven Wonders Duel.
And if you don't like
It's
Seven Wonders Duel, this is a good Seven Wonders
it
Duel.
right. It's one of those things that's like the theme of this just fits with the mechanics that they added to it because it has your it added an area control part to it. Um, it still has the same drafting system of normal Duel, but it also the other cool thing is because one person's going to take on the Fellowship and one's going to take on the the bad guys, and but you have this track here, and it's neat because it's a track that you have, um, Frodo and Sam running on, and then you have this acrylic whole thing moves when you move, but then the evil player can move their ring wraiths closer, and there's different ways of winning. If you get to the end of that track, you can win. If you control every part of Middle Earth, you can win. If you have like all the guilds, I want to say, or something like that, there's a way to win that way too. Um,
Hmm.
but this is just an outstanding version of this system with the theme tacked on, and like I don't know. I don't know if I could see myself playing the regular Duel unless I would just had somebody that wanted to play a two-player game that didn't like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
But I mean this
Which at
way,
that point, don't even, it's like, get out of my house, you know?
but this one just so the art's awesome. Vincent Dutrait, I mean, does
He's
it
the best
knocks out of the
artist
park.
out on in
Yeah,
the board game industry, in my opinion.
it's just there's just this is just a perfect two player a perfect two-player game. I mean, it 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 just adds those elements that just really solidifies it, and being able to get those tiles, those location tiles also,
Hmm.
is another thing. I don't know if there's plans to add anything else to this game. I don't really know, but
I don't know because there's definitely a renaissance of duel games. Like it's just the thing now to do. Res Arcana Duel, Everdell Duo, Azul, Azul, what is it called? Azul a Duel or
there's
something?
a
I
Azul
think it's just
Duel, I think.
Azul Duel.
Yeah,
They should have done Azul a Duel
yeah,
because that'd be stupid. But that's just the thing now, which I mean, if Splendor Duel, which is
yeah. That was a good
makes
one.
Splendor's like I wouldn't even shit in that box. That's how bad it is.
Right.
Um, but yeah, but they don't ever seem to get supported, you know, which
Well,
why
because I
would
mean,
they?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're clearly a shrunk down version of the original.
I mean, Seven Wonders Duel got a few expansions, so I mean, I don't
It
know if
did,
they'll.
that, but that
So
one, yeah, you're right. I was gonna say that one's so radically different from Seven Wonders, and it is, but I guess these dual games kind of are as well.
yeah, so I don't know, but the only thing that really, because I mean, this game pretty much spans from Fellowship to the end of the movie. I mean,
Hmm.
so I don't know, really, you'd only really be able to add just a few locations maybe and stuff. It
That's
really
really
isn't
all
much.
I would want is new locations, just
Yeah,
a pack of so you're not seeing all of them.
right.
But yeah,
So
the extra strategy of, stalling for time instead of like, okay, I don't want to take that card because it's going to reveal two more other cards.
exactly.
Oh, I could buy that and make them discard it. And then they buy a location, and you're like, damn it.
Yep.
But the fact that you are able to kind of do more, which I think the expansions for Seven Wonders Duel allowed, but
Right.
I didn't really like any of those expansions
And
except for the one you hated.
and this one's fine just by itself. But
agree.
But yeah. But so anyway, that's my 41. Lord of the Rings, Duel for Middle Earth. It's
Nice.
top notch.
All right. Well, that is it, everyone. That is it for this segment. We got three more before we get to the top 10. So I hope you're enjoying. Let us know what you think of these games in the comments below. Stick around for the rest of the top 100. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.
Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you would like to see more of my content, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell to be notified whenever I upload any new content. If you feel like supporting the channel, you can go ahead and click that Patreon link to be taken to my Patreon, and any help is truly appreciated. Other than that, stick around for any other run-throughs or reviews or cool top 10s or whatever I feel like putting on. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.